Hi Bestie, I hope you guys are well. Alright, so this topic was prompted by just conversations, money conversations I've had with people over the years here in China, and it's been amazing to hear sometimes that, or astonishing really, to hear that sometimes people are living from paycheck to paycheck. I'm talking about foreigners who are working here mostly as educators and doing other jobs really, but we do get paid more, for the most part, more than the locals are getting paid. This is also just generalizing because I don't know everyone's paycheck, but we do get paid good money. Right, so hearing that sometimes people are living from paycheck to paycheck, or just stories about people not saving money at all, not being bothered to save any money at all, is somewhat troubling to me. So if you're planning on coming to China and your reason for coming here is to be able to save money, you are desiring a better life for yourself, but also you have intentions of going back to your home country at some point in your life, then this is probably a video for you. If not, some people come here to travel and experience different countries. They don't really need to save, then that's okay as well. It doesn't apply to you. Other people might be wondering, well, why does she qualify to talk about this? Who is she? Which is only fair as well. I have been living here for 5 years. I came here with the intention of making better money and saving. I've not always done a good job at that. I haven't always saved money. I've talked about this before. The first year I worked here, I came as well with a lot of debt because coming here was expensive, so I had to pay that money back. So that did derail me from my original plans. And I did buy things that I had no business buying, or did things that I had no business doing, which also derailed my plans of actually saving money as much as I possibly can. So the experience of living here is 5 years, going on 6 years, and my money mistakes. Surely that does qualify me to speak about this topic. So if you were to ask me now, well, how do you save money in China? Ways to save money in China. There's just 6 ways that I've come up with that you can just strictly save money here. Number 1, you have to strictly transfer money home as soon as you get your paycheck. So don't wait until whatever 10 days or 15 days to send money home. Transfer your money back to your home country as soon as possible, and have certain amount of money that you're always going to send home. For example, you could just save 5,000 RMB every month, like strictly, no matter what, unless maybe you'll be going on holiday and then maybe you want to save 2.5 because you don't want to go on holiday and then be broke on holiday. Well, at least I don't want that. So strictly send money home every month. So one thing I've noticed about South Africans specifically when it comes to this is that a lot of people come here and then they don't take care of their accounts back home. They don't have accounts. Like some people don't have accounts in SA, and if you don't have an account in SA, then you are going to fall into the trap of not being able to transfer money back home. I don't know why or how this happens, but I've actually come across people who don't have accounts back home, and this may be a problem. So if you're planning on coming here, do make sure that your account is well and running. I have a whole financial life in SA that if I went back home, I just need a place to stay and then my financial life would go as normal. I didn't wanna just pack up and go and then have nothing to my name. I didn't want that. That was not for me. I still have my phone. I pay my phone bill because I want to keep my number. I pay like 56 rands, I think, right now, which for me is not a lot of money. At some point before I went back home, it went up to 120, I think, which was ridiculous. So after going home, I was like, hey man, I don't even use this number, but I still want to keep it on. How can we do that without me having to pay so much money? And then Vodacom was very kind and they reduced the amount. So have an account back home, transfer money, strictly do not negotiate that, no matter what. This is something that I'm going through my investing phase where I'm learning more about investing and stuff, and just budgeting phase, money phase really. I'm learning as much as I possibly can. And one thing that I've always been against is budgeting. I just have never liked budgeting. It seems like a lot. And to me, in my brain, it just seems like, oh, I am not free to spend the money that I work for. It just doesn't feel good to budget. But then, upon learning more about money and how budgeting does actually help, I've been trying to get better at budgeting. It has helped a lot for me to have 2 accounts here now. So I have, the new job required me to get a new account from a different bank. So that way, when I get paid from my school now, then I can just transfer the amount of money that I'm gonna need to my old account, because that's what I use to pay for almost everything. So that way I can track how much I'm spending on stuff. I know that every week I spend about 600 RMB on food and water, stuff like that. Sometimes 700 RMB depending on what I'm buying. It's just roughly my groceries money. And then I spend, because of this, now I know how much I'm spending. I spend about 800 RMB on transport. I spend about, like, I know how much I'm spending. And last month I did spend a lot more than I usually do, because I was taking my clothes to the dry cleaners. What else did I do? I did stuff that I don't usually do every month. Or I bought a lot more toiletries because I'd run out of stuff. You know, when you have to replace toiletries and stuff, it does get expensive. And I felt that because I could see money transferring from one account to another, and then knowing that, oh, this is actually not what I want. I needed that, but it's not necessarily what I want. With one account, I never really knew what I was doing. I just knew that I could feel, like when I go to a mall, I can feel when I'm spending too much money and then it's time to get out of there. So that's how I was doing my stuff. But now, just budgeting exposes you to yourself. Hey, you're terrible with your money. This is where your money is going. You have no business eating out this much, and you need to fix that if you are serious about saving though. All right, one thing about living in China and living in a big city like Shanghai is you get invited out a lot. You get invited to events. People have birthday parties. You get invited just out a lot. There's a lot of stuff to do. This is not just exclusive to China or just Shanghai. I know that it's how the world is right now, but here it does tend to happen a lot. Okay, so you don't need to attend every event you are invited to. You don't need to. You can just say, hey, cannot make it, get a gift for the person, get nothing for them, because for the most part, when you're invited to birthday parties as well, it's not like you close with the person that you are invited to their party. You sometimes just acquaintances and you're not even close. It's just a very, to me, weird culture of doing birthday parties and stuff here. And when you go to these birthday parties, people will choose the most beautiful restaurants, the most luxurious ones for the most part as well. And then you have to pay your bill. Yeah, I have my politics about inviting people out to an event and then having them cover their own bills as well. Because if I have to cover my own bill at your event, then you cannot afford that event, and that's okay. But a fact is a fact. So you don't have to go all the time. You don't have to do all these brunches. They can get really expensive, especially if you drink. You don't have to go out every Friday. That's just a given. So yeah, that's what I do. Sometimes I just don't go because I cannot afford to go. Not because I don't have money, but because I would rather use my money doing something else. This is something that I've had to kind of strictly do as well here, is have some sort of emergency fund even here. So I save money, I transfer money back home, but I also save money for here because my life is here, right? For example, if I needed a ticket tomorrow, for whatever reason, I'd be able to buy my plane ticket to get out of here if it came to that point. You don't want to not have any money saved up here because that is dangerous. So this might mean not buying as much clothes as you want, because most of the time clothes are just really wants and not needs, as not going out, as I said before, as much as you can. So saving money strictly here, it helps a lot. Like, you might not end up needing to use that money. Like, I had savings and then I needed winter clothes this time around, and I just used my savings for here to get the winter clothes, not money from my paycheck. You know what I mean? So even I've only been working at the school for 2 months. Even if I hadn't been paid at the school, I would still be fine here, because I do tend to save money for just emergencies here as well. So strictly, you have to do that. That money can help you. If you need a phone, for example, you can just use that money to buy a phone and not take from your savings back home. So save money for emergencies here. That may not happen, and then you can just take that money to do other things. This is, I mean, personal to everyone, but you don't need to go on vacation too often. A vacation once a semester, twice a semester is okay. And maybe the short trips, I guess, that I sometimes go hiking, that's like 400 RMB per weekend. That is not expensive. It can get expensive if I went every weekend. But like having to book a hotel and then a flight and then getting food wherever you're going can be expensive. So I've seen that some people definitely do take vacation a lot. Like I said, it's because sometimes people are here to travel. So if you're here to travel, or if you make really, really good money, because some people do make really good money even as teachers, so of course that person can afford to. But me and you, we are not making really, really good money, so we have to think about the money that we are spending when we're traveling. We have to budget for that. You can't just go on vacation like money grows on trees and it's nothing to worry about when you know that you don't have money like that. So vacations, limit them. Go on vacation, have fun, experience life, but not too much. It is easy to fall into that trap as well, because it's easy to reach the neighboring countries here, Asian countries. You don't need to go on holiday all the time. You don't need to prove a point to nobody on Instagram and take some nice vacation. You don't need all that. Just go on vacation as like spoiling yourself. You deserve it. Of course, you work, but not too often. And lastly, number 6, I would say remain true to yourself. As cliche as it sounds, it's just is what it is. If you remain true to yourself and you don't try to impress people that don't even care about you, that don't even think about you, just do your thing. Buy clothes when you need clothes. Go on vacation when you feel like you've saved enough up for a vacation. Especially if you've got to send money home. Some people have kids and they come here. You've got to take a kid to school, send money home, buy yourself stuff. You work, you can't be looking raggedy, doing stuff with your friends as well, because you cannot be home all the time, all in the name of saving. It can get expensive. So remain true to yourself, understand your life, understand your background. Don't try to live a life that you cannot afford for people that don't even think about you, that don't even see you sometimes. Like, you're posting stuff on Instagram for certain people, they're not even looking. People have stuff going on. So yeah, be secure. It's okay to not have certain stuff. I remember I love sneakers, right? And when I worked here, the first year, I never bought sneakers at all. The second year, I bought a few, like 3 pairs, and that was it. And then I only started buying sneakers when I felt like I could afford, like, properly buying sneakers. So now I have plenty. That's my weakness, but for the most part, I can afford to buy my sneakers. When I couldn't be bothered. I loved them from afar. So loving something doesn't mean that you have to go instantly and get it. Instant gratification sometimes leads to a lot of sorrow, and you don't want that. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. Bye.